of course, we'll go through all the questions at the end. So as usual, we start off by looking at the economic calendar. Let me bring that up. So we start with the economic calendar before we even start looking at the charts to see what's going to happen in the markets today, because that's what actually determines what time you start trading, how often you trade, and all that. So today is Tuesday, the 25th of August. Again, always make sure you're using the correct time zone for where you are based. I'm in Rwanda, so that's why it's GMT +2. So wherever you're in the world, make sure you change the time zone. And I mean, obviously you can put auto detect, but also make sure you're using the correct time zone. Okay, so let's have a look. So today, Tuesday, the 25th of August, the first report of high, obviously you can just ignore reports of low importance. And of course, the main market we're looking at is the Euro-US dollar. So we're looking for reports of high importance or medium importance that could affect the Euro or the US dollar. And of course, we can just ignore reports of low importance. So the first report of high importance throughout that could affect the Euro-US dollar is the German GDP growth rate report. That's a report of extremely high importance. And of course, you know that Germany is the major powerhouse in Europe, so that could have an impact on the Euro-US dollar. That's coming out at 8 o'clock this morning, my time. And as we all know, I'll repeat it again, the four reports that are always of major importance are the GDP, the gross domestic product, consumer price index, CPI, interest rates, and unemployment rate. Those four reports are always of major importance. So we have that coming out at 8 o'clock, which is in about an hour, just less than an hour from now, from Germany. So that's the first report of high importance. Let's carry on. Again, just ignore the reports of low importance. Then at 10 o'clock, again, coming out of Germany, we have the IFO Business Climate Report. That's another report of high importance. Again, when you start trading, it's always important to read about the reports because especially those who are currently on the online platform, well, all of you are on it. If you've been following my trading over the couple of weeks, you can see that there's sometimes the report of high importance would come out and I would ignore it. I think I did that a couple of days ago, where I said, in my experience, this report doesn't really impact the market, and I traded before the report. But again, that comes from me knowing what each report says, what they mean. And again, if you're new to trading, you have to start making a habit of reading what these reports are about, so that you can then judge for yourself and with time and experience whether you can trade before that report or not. So again, do get in the habit of doing that. And then with time, you'll know the significance of what each of them mean with time, but just get into the habit of reading what the report is about. So that's the German report again, coming out at 10. Just ignore all these low reports. Again, note reports of medium importance. This is one coming out at 3 p.m. Usually reports on the housing market can sometimes affect the market. Again, that's why it's classed as medium. So that's the house price index coming out at 3 p.m. out of the United States. That won't stop you from trading, but it's a good time to check your markets. It's a good time to check the markets around that time to see what's going on. But that won't stop you from trading. Then at 4 o'clock, again, these are all my times, GMT +2. So at 4 o'clock, we have again, out of the United States, we have the CB, which is CB stands for Conference Board. That's the Conference Board Consumer Confidence Report. The Conference Board Consumer Confidence Report just measures consumer activity and consumers' confidence in the economic state of the country. So of course, if the figure is increasing, it shows that consumers are confident about the economy, their spending, and it shows that, you know, the economy is getting better. If that figure is reducing, it shows that consumers don't have much confidence in the economy and they spend less, and that's not good for the economy. Again, like I said, it's important for you to keep reading about these reports. I mean, for example, here they don't write much about it, but you can Google it. You can just copy and Google it and find out what the report is about. So if there isn't enough information there, there's Google, you know, to tell you about the report. So like I said, it's very important you know what all these reports are about. So that way you can make objective decisions as to when to trade. So that's the last report of high importance due out today at 4. So the question now is, when do you start trading? Because remember the teaching that you don't trade before the last report of high importance. So that's just the standard and the basic, but again, to do with trading or the financial markets, there's no hard or fast rule. I think I've always been saying that. There's no hard or fast rule when it comes to the financial markets, when it comes to trading. You don't use the word always or never. The words always, there are no absolutes. Anything can happen in the market at any time for no reason. So it's just you taking all the facts and information you have at hand and then make an objective decision of what you do in the market, what time you trade, based on all the information you've gathered. So although that's the standard teaching and that's what you need to always remember, you want to avoid trading prior to the last report of high importance, because there's an increased probability of the markets trending sideways prior to the last report of high importance. That's the basic and standard teaching. But there are always circumstances that will make that change. So today's a good example. So at 4 p.m. GMT plus 2, again, these are all GMT plus 2 times because I'm in Rwanda. These are all GMT plus 2 times. So today, the last report of high importance is at 4 p.m. due out to the United States, which is a Conference Board Consumer Confidence Report. But so ideally, you shouldn't trade before this last report of high importance. But given today's circumstances, things are different. And again, this is why it's important to understand what these reports are all about. Because the GDP report out of Germany is much more important than all these other reports due out today. So this GDP takes precedent, takes more importance than the other reports. So you will definitely not be trading prior to this report, which is in about 50 minutes time. So this report is going to be announced in about 50 minutes. But this is a report that is of mega importance. It's the GDP report. It's one of the major reports. It's of extremely high importance. Of course, it's out of Germany, so it will affect the euro. So you will definitely not be trading prior to this report that comes out in about 50 minutes. But I will definitely place my pending orders just before this report comes out and attempt to trade around this time. So I will not be waiting till 4 p.m. before I trade, because this GDP report is of extremely high importance. It's more important than this business climate report. It's more important than the Conference Board Consumer Confidence Report. So I'll definitely be having my first attempt at the market around this time. And then if I then lose out on that first attempt and I lose out on that first trade, then yes, I will then stop trading and then have my second attempt at 4 p.m. around this time when the last report of high importance comes out. So again, this is the importance of starting off your day looking at the economic calendar, because that sort of dictates how you're going to trade, what time you're going to trade, when you're going to have your attempts, when to check your trades, and all that. So again, let me start from the beginning. So we're just going to leave the market alone. We'll leave the market alone till 8 o'clock my time, which is 7 a.m. GMT +1. So we're definitely going to avoid. We're going to look at the chart shortly, but we're not going to place any pending orders. We're going to leave the market alone, and then about 10 minutes before the report is due out, I'll assess the market, and at that time, depending on what the market looks like at that time, 10 minutes before the report, I will then place my pending orders, and I'll post that on the online platform at that time. So I'll place my pending orders just before this report is announced. And then, like I say, if I lose out on that first trade, I'll stop trading to the last report of high importance. But let's go through the day. So that's around 8 a.m. this morning, my time. Then we all know that there's another report at 10. So again, it's good to make sure you check the markets around that time. So obviously, if the market is taking your trade and you're in a live trade, you can just check and see what's going on with your live trade around 10 when this other report of high importance comes out. So it's good to check the market around that time, see if your trade has been taken, if your trade is still live. But we're not going to place another trade until, like I said, the last report of high importance. But this is telling you good times to check the markets and check the trade at 10 o'clock again. It's also good to check the markets again around midday UK time. It's good to check the markets around midday UK time. And then, of course, at 2:30 UK time, when the US market opens, that's another good time to check the markets, because that's when the US market gets into the fray. And sometimes when the US market opens at 2:30, the US traders will change the direction of the market. So that's another good time to check your trades. And then again, like I said earlier, you note reports of medium importance. So this report of medium importance, the house price index, that won't stop you trading, but it can sometimes affect the market. So again, that's a good time to check your trades. And of course, we've got the one at 4 o'clock coming out, the last report of high importance. Then again, you definitely need to be checking the market around that time. Of course, if you still have if your pending order hasn't been taken, then there's nothing for you to do. If your pending order has been taken earlier and you're now in a live trade, then you can see what's going on with your live trade. Of course, if you've been taken out from your live trade prior to this report, then this is the time to reassess the market again and place your second attempt at the market around this time. So you can see this economic calendar gives you a quite detailed of how you're going to approach your trading day. And also don't forget, you need to check the financial news websites. You can check anyone, CNBC, Yahoo Finance. Like I said, this is the one I use, marketwatch.com, which is updated every couple of minutes. So it gives you up-to-date financial information on the markets. So you want to see if there's anything major going on in the markets, because don't forget, if there's some major news causing uncertainty in the markets, that can cause the markets to trend sideways. But again, that's the beauty of trading the currency market, because it tends to be major news that can affect the currency market. So for example, all this Apple stock splits, that's not going to affect the currency market. This will affect the stock market, the S&P. So if you're doing long-term investing and you're investing in particular stocks, then some of this news might interest you. But for the currency trading, it tends to be global news. Like, of course, we know about the current US-China trade problem. So this sort of news might affect the market. The US-China trade envoy holds meeting to discuss coordinating economic policies. So again, if you then see particular news that might affect the market, you might then want to read about it. So you can just quickly go through the headlines and have a general idea of what's going on. And then if you want more details about that news, you can click on that and then it gives you more information. So obviously this is the one that could affect currencies, this US-China trade tensions. So these are the ones that could cause problems with the markets. But people are happy that at least they're talking, which is a good sign and a positive sign. So those are the ones you keep your eye on. It's the major news. Okay, so you can see there's a lot you need to do before you go straight to the charts. So going to the charts, we'll start with our swing trading. That's the daily time frame, D1. So we'll go to the daily time frame, and again, swing trading is quite straightforward. We just put a cursor over the candlestick for today. Look at the data window. The data window shows the moving average 50 today is 1.1604. So I will just adjust my pending order to 2 pips below that at 1.1602. So I'll just change that to 1.1602, 1.1602. Change the stop loss to 100 pips above, so that'll be 1.1702. And modify. There you go. That's it. Move it. Swing trade is done till tomorrow. So I don't need to monitor this at all. I just need to ignore that and check it again tomorrow and do the same tomorrow. So we now go to the day trading. So we go to the M5 time frame. M5 time frame. So this is now the M5 frame. The first thing you want to do with all chart analysis is to check the trend of the market. So that's the number one thing you want to do, is the trend. So we can see it was initially trending down, then it started to trend sideways. Now you can see it's trending up. In a very haphazard way, obviously, but it's still making roughly higher lows and higher highs. But it obviously seemed to have stopped at that point, because you can see, let me make it a bit bigger. So you can see the way it formed a high, a low, and it didn't quite form a new high there. And of course, this low is lower than the previous low. So it looks like it's now beginning to trend sideways. Okay, so it's formed a high there, but let's check. Let's see what this high point there, looking at the data window, is the high of that candlestick, the top wick is 1.18141. But of course, we only use 4 digits with the currency, so it's 1.1814. That's the highest point there. Let's check this one. Is it higher? So yes, that's higher. It's 1.18145. So I'll round that up to 1.1815. 1.1815. That's the most recent high point in the market, and this is the most recent low for now. So that low is 1.1805. 1805. There we go. So we know that the market is now beginning to trend sideways. And it actually, so that's the beauty. That's the first thing you want to do when you analyze the charts, is to determine the trend. So it was initially trending up, got to that high point, it stopped forming higher highs and higher lows, and we're going to wait and see what happens. So we can't say it's uptrending anymore because it's not forming new highs. We can't say it's downtrending yet because it needs to form lower lows and lower highs. So let's see what happens. So for now, it looks like it's trending sideways. And of course, you can see the pivot point is clearly within the sideways trend. So if you want to trade this market now, if it continues to go up, the first available point for you to trade will be to buy above the first resistance. And then if it falls, the first available point to trade, to sell will be to sell below the first support. But like I said, because of the report coming out in just about 35 minutes time or so, we're not going to place any pending orders now. We're going to wait and then reassess just before that report in about 35 minutes. And at that time, that's when I'll now place my pending orders. And obviously I'll do that and post it on the platform. So that's the plan for today. Any questions? If you have any questions you can either raise your hands or send your question through the question box. Morning, Isaiah.
Morning, Rami. I haven't opened a live account yet, but I tried to do that yesterday. And for some reason, I don't know if I was doing it right. Because I remember when we had the class, you went to the file tab and you just switched in between your demo and live account. And I gather it's because you already registered a live account.
Exactly. You have to you first have to open a live. Let me actually show you. Okay. So if like you say, if you go to file and it says login to trade account.
Yeah, I just do that. Yeah.
Yeah, but you must have already opened the live account because it would ask you for your login number and your password. So that means you must have opened a live account first. Because so if you have done that, you'll then be sent your login number, your password, and then you can then put it in there and change that to live. But you need those details first.
Okay, can I?
Your password. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, can I open the live account from that same file tab because there's an option to open account there.
You can try it. I've not done that before. So it says here open an account. So you could do that and try. But I haven't done that before. Usually I've done it online. And of course, because it's a live account, they will need some of your details, your personal details. Yeah, because unlike the
yes, sorry.
Hello, Samiat.
Morning.
Morning.
Morning. Yes. Yes, I tried doing that. I've been trying to do that for the past.
It doesn't work. Yeah.
Yesterday was when I finally got through. It's worse than doing jam really. And it was Bumi that helped me. So I could put you through later in the day if you don't have a problem with that.
Please.
Okay, so you can link up with Samiat. Oh, I mean, now that you mentioned that, Samiat, what did Bumi say? Because you sent me a text about that yesterday. What did Bumi say? Did they ask her all those questions?
Oh yes. She had to do the test and.
Oh my God! So that's what they do now.
10 questions, and I'm like, gosh. Yeah, but it's really annoying. But yeah, we could go through it later in the day if that's all right by you.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so you can link up on the platform or you can exchange emails.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. But it just goes to show, I think, although I tell people a lot on the investment platform, but I think this still applies to you guys too on this platform. Because on the investment course, I always warn them to contact the broker because rules and regulations keep changing. Because obviously my own investment account, I opened it 18 years ago. My trading account I've opened many years ago, and I know things change, regulations change, rules change. So I always want people to, but I do that a lot for investment, not for trading. But investment, I always want them a lot to contact your broker, speak to them about the up-to-date details.
For IG, but getting through to them is even another tedious task
Yeah, the COVID doesn't help. The COVID doesn't help at all.
You spend so long on the phone and you may not even get through.
But unfortunately, that's one of the hassles one has to go through, unfortunately, because obviously to trade you need a broker. That's the only way you can access the market is through a broker. And then once you open your account, you need to comply with those brokers' rules and regulations. And sometimes, like you found out, which is a shame, because when I opened mine, they didn't ask me. It was just a simple, my name, my bank details on their website, and I was done. But like I said, times and things change, unfortunately. But thanks for that, Samiat. And Isaiah, you can link up with her.
Samiat, I just sent you a private chat. If you could just please reply.
Yeah, and also for everyone's information too, you can post it on the online platform.
Okay.
So you can post information so everyone too can learn from your experience. Okay. Any other questions? Any questions, comments? Like I said, if you do have any problems or issues, this is where to solve it now before we end the session, because I purposely carve out this time every Tuesday morning to address any issues or problems. So, like I say, if you have any questions, yes, Isaiah again.
I have a question, but it's not it's not relating to trading. It's more investing.
Okay. Might as well.
I know, right? The Apple split. I think I put you on the platform yesterday.
Yes, I replied you. You didn't see my reply.
Oh, I haven't. I think I didn't get the message, the reply.
Yeah, I replied it.
Okay.
I replied telling you that the Apple split is not in effect till the end of the month.
I got it wrong.
Yeah, so actually, let me quickly go to the platform. Let me log in and show you, because because when I replied you, I said if you check the previous post, there was information on it on the previous post. But let me actually show it to you now that you mention it, and for anyone else who wants to know. Because I posted when they first announced the stock split.
Yeah.
I posted it on the platform. So let's go to topics, and let's go to let's see. Was it on the long-term investing? Let's see, long-term investing.
Yeah, I think I saw. I went back and if you type in the search Apple split, it will come up. There it is.
There you go. So
because I went back and I looked at that as well. I thought it was the 24th. That was a date.
Go. So like we said here, so like I said, Apple had just announced a 4.16. Since Apple stocks currently trade above, it means blah blah blah. Anyway, so it depends on where the stock trades at the end of August. So it's meant to start around the end of August.
Okay. So
I got my dates wrong. Yeah. So that's why. So when I did, yes, I saw, because I saw it. Let me check and make sure that.
I also thought it was 24th too.
Yeah, I thought it was.
You guys are following Apple very closely.
and Tesla.
Following very closely. So, and again, obviously, with even if they did say 24th on the dot, usually with all this thing, you have to do filing, you have to do SEC filing, you have to do a lot of paperwork and administrative work. So even if they did say 24th, it might still be delayed for a couple of days. So even that end of August might end up being first week in September.
Wow.
But do keep an eye. Well, you can keep an eye on it. I think there was something here about this Apple stock split again on the Market Watch today. So since you guys are following Apple closely, you can also read that on Market Watch. You can go back and read it. Talking about the impending stock split and how it's going to affect the Dow Jones, the impending Apple stock split. Okay, but that's for you guys who are watching Apple. Go and watch it closely.
Right. The other question I had was, when is it? Because the price now is going up. I think the stock split is causing people to jump on there.
Of course.
So should we buy now or should we wait till
That's
after
up to
the
you.
split?
That's up to you.
Because the higher it gets the higher it gets now, when it splits, the price would be higher as well.
Okay, let me put it this way. As you know, by now, I don't give people specific advice when it comes to which stocks to buy and when to buy stocks.
Yes.
I've taught you how to do your own assessment.
Yes.
And you do your own fundamental analysis. But I will tell you something in general. I'm not talking specifically about Apple now. I'm talking in general. You always have to remember, are you trading or are you investing? Because like you rightly say, in anticipation of a stock split, people know that when there's a stock split, the whole essence of the stock split is to get more people to invest and to stimulate interest in that stock. Now, some people with a trader mentality would then speculate, i.e., they will now buy with the aim of dumping it once that stock split happens, so that they know that when those new investors come in who are oblivious to the way this market works, they want to take advantage of those guys. So they will buy it now with the aim that when that split is official, and new investors come in and jack the price up even further, those guys will sell. And when they sell, the price is going to fall. So that's why I always warn people, you have to be clear, are you trading or are you investing? Now, if you're investing, you have your criteria you want to fulfill, because of course, if you remember, we talked about PE ratios.
Yeah, and earnings per share. No, are you value investing or are you?
Yeah, so if you look at Apple PE ratio now, it's 38. So are you doing growth investing or value investing? Now, these are all the things that's why I can't give you a yes or no answer. You have to get all the information and decide. Because if you're doing long-term investing, then what happens in this stock split period doesn't matter, the up and down of the price. But you have to ask yourself, are you doing growth investing or are you doing value investing? So someone like me, I do value investing. This PE ratio is too high for me. So regardless of this stock split they're doing or whatever, I don't care. I'm talking of myself personally. You know, if this, and then again, I will still monitor it, because you might find, which is why, again, I have a clear mind of what I'm doing. When I'm trading, like I'm day trading now, we did with the Euro US dollar, I am jumping in and out of the market. I'm making daily decisions. But with investing, my heart is completely different. I'm very calm. So with Apple, I will keep an eye on it. But for me, I'm waiting for the P ratio to drop, which it might do when they do the stock split and all those guys that lose out when the traders start dumping their Apple shares and the share falls, the P ratio might then fall and I might then buy. But all of this are all uncertainties. You don't know what's going to happen. But what I'm just trying to, that's why I'm saying I'm advising you in general. You need to be clear. What are you doing? What is the basis of what you're doing? What is the objective behind your decisions? That is the key.
Okay, thank you.
Pleasure. So
Makes
yeah,
sense.
I would say go and buy Apple. No, the way you get into trouble, Remy said.
Buy Apple.
So I hope you get the gist of what I said.
Yep, I do. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Any other questions before we end the session?